Good morning, everyone. So today I'm going to be going over how to actually leverage tools like Claude Cowork or agentic coding tools for some everyday tasks. Like you don't have to vibe code Google to get worthwhile use out of tools like Claude Code and Claude Cowork. So an example that today I'm going to start out with opening Claude Cowork. I'm going to feed it some Excel docs with some different like budget information about a hypothetical business. I'll open up the Excel documents real quick so y'all can see those, what's in there. So it's massive. I just got some basic stuff in here, like nothing too insane, but it'll still work really well for showing what Claude Cowork is good at doing. Open these all just to make sure we can see them and see what's in there. I think that was one already opened. Consolidated budget. Yep, these are all different, which is good. We're on Q2 forecast. Okay, there's some actual details in there. The formatting's not perfect, but that's fine. Forecast detail, variance bridge, yep, all those things. Okay, so what I'm going to do to show how powerful these tools can be and how they can actually be applicable in real life, I'm going to open my personal Claude account. I have it open in Cowork right now. What you do first is you go and select work on a project, and you are going to go and open, oh, not project, you're going to select work on a folder, choose a different folder, sorry, my bad. And then you are going to go to wherever that folder is saved on your computer. So I click my desktop, and then it's budget reconciliation Excel docs for this one. So I'm just going to click on that folder, hit select folder, open it, and now Claude will be looking at that folder and those documents in there. So it can see, let's see, it can see these 5 Excel docs in there. And so we'll start with a really easy example. I have right now on Claude Opus 4.8. We can get into the different models later and what each ones are good at. Those takes tend not to last very long as the models change so frequently. So let's see, compare the submitted budgets to the consolidated budget and let me know if there are any discrepancies or things that stand out. And I can't spell, so let's see. Okay, submit that. And then here's one of the fun things about using these AI tools is you don't really have to babysit them all the time. You can send a prompt and do something else, work on something that AI can't do that's like actually talking to a person for you or setting things up, but it will run in the background. And I have it set to act without asking here, as you can see in the top corner. If you have it ask before acting, what it's going to do, it's going to try to get your approval before it does any kind of step. So before it even like writes code to analyze the Excel docs, it'll ask if that's okay. And the reason for that is like way back in the day, being like 6 months ago, not too long ago actually, when you think about it, um, people were accidentally deleting their hard drives with Claude. They were just approving everything it was doing, and it would do like destructive actions like wiping hard drives and things like that. And people just weren't like aware of what it was doing. So the ask before acting was a way of kind of stopping that from happening, and also um, it's just a way to make sure you know exactly what it's doing. Claude has a lot of safety rails built into it now that doesn't allow it to do things like that, but I see why it's still there. So this will run for a little while. I can be quiet while it does that. I'll probably fast forward this part of the video until it's actually done. It usually takes a few minutes. Okay, so that didn't take it very long. They weren't massive Excel docs anyways. So you can see what it did there. It actually reconciled the different documents and let's see, submitted totals, approved, yep. No drop lines, no broken totals, that's pretty cool. So what we can do now, what Claude's also very good at, besides reconciling documents, is it can make visuals of those. So one thing I like to do is I tell it to make an HTML. The different budgets submitted by the different departments and open it up in my browser. Biggest member single line. So it did pull some interesting stuff out there. with cuts and things like that, increase sales commission. Yeah, I pulled some interesting things out. And the nice thing about these tools are it can do those things for you very quickly, as opposed to having to scan through the different documents. It's very good at reconciling things and pointing out differences. And also what I just told Claude to do. So for those who don't know, HTML is like hypertext markup language or something like that. And essentially agentic like coding tools like what's behind Claude Cowork love writing HTML. So these LLMs like large language models like Claude or like OpenAI are trained on like tons and tons of example language and stuff like that, including code. So they love writing code, and HTML is a form of code. And the nice thing about HTML is it's usually a single flat file that you can make interactive, filterable. You can basically make a little app out of it if you want to, like a super basic one. It's really good for visualizing data. And the cool thing is you can send them over email. So a lot of what people do are they've been like creating web apps or things on their computer, not web apps, they've been creating like locally hosted apps. And the hard thing with that is there's usually Python or something running in the background, and you can't share those well unless someone else is like looking at your computer. But if you do an HTML, it's a single flat file, like, kind of like a PowerPoint. You can share it over Teams, over email, things like that. And you can make them as pretty, as filterable as you want. There's some obvious limitations, but they are very, very powerful. And a lot of corporate America has been kind of pivoting to those slowly as you don't really need to send things in PowerPoint or Excel when you can just do it straight in HTML. It's prettier, more interactive, and a little more user friendly. So yeah, Claude's going to make that now, and we'll let it do its thing. Cool. So it should be done with this. Let's see what it looks like. That's just a few minutes real time. And again, if you have to like go get a coffee or something, you can kick off a prompt, let it do its analysis, let it write the HTML, and then come back to like an actualized report, which is pretty cool. I wonder if I can just open it here as opposed to, oh yeah, I can open it here instead of just having it open it. So we'll open this in Chrome, see what it looks like. Open my other screen, I'll pull that up real quick. Okay, let me get that up. Okay, so here's what it created. And like I was mentioning earlier, Claude is very good at writing HTML and creating these kinds of visuals. And you can even have like do hover like tooltips, things like that if you want. You can make this as decked out as you want it to be. Pulled all the numbers straight from Excel, put the notes there as well, headcount drivers, all that kind of stuff. It's very effective. And this is just took us all of 5 minutes to do this once we gave it the actual Excel docs and told it what to do. So that is the very first, I think, most applicable thing that most businesses can do when they start using these tools, whether it's Codex, Claude Code, Claude Cowork. I know there's some Gemini tools out there. They're not quite as good yet, but these tools are very effective at pulling out key insights from large amounts of data, reconciling data, visualizing it quickly, just like we did here. So we'll get into more stuff in the future. This is a good opening lesson and how to use AI effectively.